I'll never forget my first day of class. I was unsure, feeling insecure, pretty shy. I didn't feel like I belonged. I think a lot of people here felt the same way during our first few weeks, our first few months, maybe the first year. I didn't know where to sit, I didn't know where to stand. That first day, I didn't know who to talk to. And as I got to know my cohort, it kind of sank in a bit further, like, am I even smart enough to get through this program? After all, it's graduate school. But here we are. My fellow graduates, over the past 2 years, we learned a lot. In statistics, Adam taught us about Alphys Kronbach, and if you're not sure what that is, neither am I. In safe and effective use of self, Julie and Susan taught us to sit in poo with our clients in an attempt to help us build our empathy skills. In assessment, Andrea taught us how to interpret a house, tree, person assessment. Some of our houses didn't have doors to get in, and some of our houses were castles. In neuropsych, Katzman and Tia taught us about Treponema pallidum, the bacteria that causes diseases like syphilis. And while eating bananas and yogurt, Katzman also, in an attempt to teach us about brain cells and synapses, reminded us that our butts are in chairs. And again, many of us find our butts being in chairs today. And all of this knowledge will no doubt be very important as we move forward in life. But I think that the most important thing we learned together over our 2 years was about the community we built and the relationships we've created with each other. Specifically, even if not intentionally, we developed what's called social interest, or Alfred Adler's term, Gemeinschaftsgefühl. Say that with me, Gemeinschaftsgefühl. Social interest is fulfilled by acting in ways that benefit society, and by doing so, it improves our health by helping us feel connected and supported. Social interest is inherent in all of us. If it weren't for other people, we wouldn't survive. Social interest benefits us as individuals. Social interest benefits us as groups. We are social beings, and we definitely benefited from social interest as students. Over the next few minutes, I'd like to talk about some of the things we learned and the people we have to thank. I told you that one of the most important things we learned was about the community we built and the relationships we've made over the past 2 years. Let me give you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. In our first week of social motivations and values, we were asked to choose a topic that was interesting, work with people we didn't know, because at that point we didn't know anyone, discuss the topic for 5 minutes, and then present. And that was our first taste of presentations. We quickly learned how important it would be to become more reliable and comfortable working with our classmates, working very closely with our classmates, and how important it was to not only become more confident in our own presenting skills, but also become more supportive and empathic audiences. In the many demonstrations we participated in and witnessed during class, we learned how important it was to maintain confidentiality for our clients and other people regarding their stories. We learned how to be more empathetic. We learned about our classmates' hardships and insecurities. We learned that empathy is a powerful gift that we can share with other people. We got free therapy from our professors. We got to learn about ourselves and the blocks that we've experienced or created within our own lives. We learned how much our professors are like magicians, especially when they did therapeutic demonstrations with volunteers and almost captured their souls within seconds just by understanding who that person is for everything that they are within their own context. Before we knew it, we became bound by an unspoken understanding of our shared experiences together. We learned about community while sitting around the lunch table, sharing food, snacks, and information about ourselves. And as a side note, it was always a nice perk walking into the kitchen to see what kind of snacks were out. Do you remember transitioning into second year? Looking for placement on top of work and school? A lot of us were separated, but we had opportunities to come back together for core courses. And let me tell you, it kind of felt like a family reunion, coming back together, seeing familiar faces. A personal example of my experience with developing social interests was writing my thesis. I think we all have to admit that it wasn't just us as authors and our supervisors as the only 2 people or 3 people involved in our thesis process. We all had an entourage of people, a team of people supporting us with this process, getting it done and in on time. This further ingrained in my mind, and probably all of yours, that nothing we accomplish is done alone. Rather, we need each other for support and coaching. We learned about solidarity on those days where we were in class from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Together, we endured the hardships of those long days. It was almost easier knowing that the entire room was struggling just as much as you were. It was easier to endure because of that. During our heavy course load, along with our other assignments, classes, and life demands, we supported each other by offering a shoulder, an ear, editorial advice, notes, and I can speak for myself and probably a few others, explanations of things that maybe we didn't quite get on our own. I know myself and definitely a few others, at least at one point during our program, experienced maybe a failure or burnout, maybe even rock bottom. Those moments of doubt were real, and they hurt. But yet here we are. We need to look back and recognize that even at our rock bottom, our worst case scenario, we were still able to breathe and our hearts still beating. In the future, if that ever happens again, we need to look back and remember that, realize that rock bottom is a great foundation upon which to build and upon which to grow. We often hear that you have to go through darkness to find light, but if it weren't for the darkness, there would be no light. Next, I'd like to take a moment on behalf of myself and fellow graduates to thank the people who helped us get here. Thank you to our family and friends. Thank you for helping us become the people we are today. To our parents, thank you for everything you gave us. Without you, literally, we wouldn't be here. I'd like to thank Mary and Bala, who, when I was still a potential student experiencing my first colloquium, said, "You are exactly where you should be, right here and right now. If you weren't meant to be here, you'd be somewhere else. It's as simple as that." She also taught me, almost to an annoying extent, how to slow down. For a long time, I really didn't understand what that meant. Life has a certain pace and you have to keep up, keep going, moving forward. But I think I understand it a little bit better now. When I'm sitting with clients, doing an assessment, working through therapy, listening to their stories, sometimes I feel my mind wander, or I see myself jumping a million steps ahead. I've learned to recognize those moments, take a deep breath, and just slow down. You know, I wonder if we could all benefit from taking a few seconds right now to just slow down and recognize where we are at graduation together. Thank you to our faculty for your support and encouragement. On behalf of myself and definitely all of our graduating class, thank you to Melissa, our registrar, for helping us get to this point, for checking up on our progress, and for your patience and support throughout. Thank you to you guys, my fellow graduates, for all of your support. Wow. Your humor and encouragement. I went through this program for a long time unsure if I was smart enough, not sure if I fit in with my cohort, not sure if these friendships and the community that we built was real because it was almost too good to be true. But again, here we are together. As a final thought going forward, I'd like to leave you with a quote from Rick Rigsby. He said, "If you think you can, then you can. If you think you can't, then you can't." We set our own limits. So get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that is a place of growth. I love this quote because it reminds me of the Adlerian theory of movement. Success, failure, movement forwards, backwards, or no movement in life at all is still life movement in one way or another. And in some way that maintains purpose for us. It's been such an amazing honor to stand in front of you today, and I am so grateful to have had this opportunity. It's been amazing learning and growing with all of you guys, our graduating class, with the faculty and the admin. We heard so many times how small the community of psychology really is. Let's not forget that. Let's hold on to and remember what we built here, about the community we have. Let's allow ourselves the opportunity to rely on that, rely on the connections we've created as we move forward on our journeys, wherever they take us. This definitely isn't goodbye. It's more of a see you later. Thank you.